Alright guys, this is a follow-up video to the first one. There's that uncle here, distillery up in Mariba. Beautiful spot. Just come back from doing a trip to the Cape York and back, and this is the new battery here that I was talking about. So we've replaced the gels with this 200 amp hour Slimline lithium unit, which has inside Victron smart shunt, mppt, smart solar 120, and it's also got the low voltage disconnect BP65, which is this stud here. So all our accessories like fridge and lighting runs off that. If someone forgets to turn something off, it will disconnect at a low voltage setting, which can be adjusted. The two studs down the bottom here are your inverter and your main earth, so they're not protected by low voltage disconnect, only from the battery management system inside the battery, but most of the inverters these days also have a low voltage disconnect. But the other good thing too is built inside these batteries has its own resettable circuit breakers. So the beauty about that is they will reset once the fault is fixed. So no need for ugly circuit breakers at the front here, they're built inside the batteries. You do have an isolation switch here though, you can turn on and off, which is great if you want to work on the system, hook up some more wires, something like that. You can isolate all the power studs and it's safe to do so. Down the bottom here we've got the ignition sense for the dcdc. The blue plug here is your dcdc from the vehicle battery or alternator. The red plug is your solar. Yeah, so inside the batteries has its own resettable circuit breakers, 100 amps each, so 200 consistently. Also we've got in each battery, there's two batteries in there, they've got their own 20 amp dcdc in each battery, with adjustable settings as well, so you can adjust it for ignition relay, smart alternators. It does a lot. It will cover any vehicle, which is awesome. So it's early morning and we're parked in the shade, but we are getting a little bit of solar even though we're under trees. We're getting, 2.5 amps there, which looks after the two fridges, running a Bushman 65 litre and an Angle 21 litre as a freezer. This is the history from the Cape. So some days, we had really good solar coming in, but we're also charging from the alternator at the same time, which you can do with this unit, which is great compared to other units. Let's have a look at this one here. So the yield is probably the best part. Let's get it to focus a little bit if I can't. Anyway, the yield for that day from the solar was 660 watts, and you can see it was bulking and absorption in the settings there, which you can actually or download this and it comes up in a nice lovely spreadsheet to see all your data. So your max solar yield, your P max solar and your voltage max. So I've got two panels on the roof, which is 260 watts. The two panels are wired on series, so I get that high voltage, which helps in the heat, and the panels run a bit more cooler compared to running in parallel. So we did a fair bit of cooking and washing up last night with the induction cooktop. Turn it down a little bit because it's so efficient. Made some lovely dinner and did some dishes with hot water and used induction cooktop to boil the kettle. And then we've made a few coffees this morning as well. But this is the shunt settings here, so you can see how much power I got left, which it won't take long to charge this up this morning when we go for a drive. Also got solar coming in all day, we'll be fine. And this is what we can see we've used the last 2 weeks. So deepest discharge is 157, average is 130. Our discharge energy is 15 kilowatt hours and charge energy is 14.9 kilowatt hours. and we can also see minimum battery voltage, maximum battery voltage, max starter voltage. We've had no alarms for low voltage, and we've had no alarm for high voltage, which is great. Cumulative amp drawn is 1161 amp hours, and last discharge we've only used 81 amp hours. If you go into settings here, you can see current usage. Just fridges are running at the moment, so there's not too much going on there. But the cool thing is I can go from watts to current. On this side I can go, oh, actually I want to see consumed amp hours, or state charge, amps, voltage, and you can go back here too and do the same thing. You can play around with that. You can also set the time intervals you want to see, every 30 seconds, every 15 seconds. You can also pause it, play, click this button here and you can see a bit more live data coming in there. Great little device, worth the money. The size of this thing, so I've got my iPhone 10 XR, and you can see the size, the width of the battery. It's only just over 100 mil, and when you come on the side of the ute here, you can see you've got this gas strut all the ways, and most canopies there in the road, but you know, it's not taking up much room in my canopy, which allows me to have heaps more space, fit a lot more gear in here, which is good. So this unit's only 30 kilos compared to that 100 and something kilo system I had before in that big ugly box, which was only for a quick weekend trip, but you know, I only wanted to use it for the weekend, so that's why I did it. This unit here has allowed us to save on fuel by not having all that weight, so I'm still probably 300 kilos I've got up my sleeve, which is great, and not going to wear out tyres. Anyway guys, that's me for now, and I'm going to enjoy my coffee.